Good evening, race fans. How are we all doing this evening? Welcome back. Let me just change that. Why is that clicking? Sorry, bear with me. There we go. For my apologies, it's RTO Season 6. My name's John Wright, of course, aka Double O Raven, and does love an audio issue at the start of a broadcast. We are here for Zandvoort, of course, the 8 rounds, 16 races, 8 reverse grids, all live here on the RTO YouTube channel in 2K and 7.1 surround sound, so make sure you crank your output up to max. My apologies. Yep, sorry, I've switched it off. Yep, that was what the clicking sound was. Right, okay, so my apologies, links, we'll need to get that clipped off the start of the stream for copyright reasons. Goodness me, there's always an audio issue, isn't there? Good evening. Once again, welcome to RTO Season 6. It is round number 6. It is Zandvoort. Of course, we've seen Misano, the Nürburgring, Laguna Seca, Donington and the Hungaroring, which will no longer be known by myself as the Hungaro train. We saw plenty of overtaking. Yeah, great stuff. There, so just checking all the audio because that is a bad one. We've got Zandvoort this evening. Of course, it's going to be exactly the same format. The two 25-minute races for the drivers to take part in. The second race will be reverse order grid with them put back into their original splits. They're out on track at the moment for the last few moments of practice. The whole series, of course, sponsored by Luke Addison Setups. There is the website, the array of setups that Luke, and coaching, of course, there up at the top of the page. A very quick and easy website to use, as I can absolutely testify that the Ferrari 296 bundle, those setups are very, very, very good. Luke Addison Racing is a platform where you can develop further as a sim racer and a set of course of competency on it through setups and coaching. Luke is looking to help people who want to share his interest in sim racing by creating setups that can help you get your lap times down by having a setup that is stable, fast and consistent. He offers coaching as well if you need guidance on where to find those extra tenths or seconds. Certainly that would be my case there, that you may be missing out on track. A little progress each day adds up to big results. So if you are looking for setups or coaching in the ACC space, 100,000,000% can fully recommend the series sponsor, Luke Addison. It really is nice to be able to wax lyrical about the sponsor involved. As I say, the drivers, they've got 2 minutes left of their practice session, and then it'll be, of course, the 2 9-minute sessions for qualifying. The AMs out first, the Silvers and the Pros will then follow suit. Luke Southall strengthening his grip on the top of the championship, making it a 3rd win and the first driver to do so. Peter Brett, 5th position, tumbling outside of the top 3. Liam Page with 2 wins under his belt also, but still 54 points behind his teammate Page. Dan Watts and Sigurd Revzig, the RTO pairing, managed to break the dominance of the SOP3. Watts with a race win last week sees him promoted to 3rd in the championship, only 21 points ahead of his teammate Sigurd Revzig, who is, as I say, the 2nd driver to separate Brett from his SOP teammates. Jordan Watson in 6th with Elliot Simpson in 7th. Dixon Chen, not racing last week, sees himself down to 9th position. Ben Nergaard in 8th, and James Whittaker rounding out the top 10 in the pros. In the silvers, it is the Paul Sidlowski show. 80 points to the good ahead of Christoph Holzer, the RTO driver. Will be in the pros next season. Christoph Holzer only 6 rounds in with 2 to go. And yeah, just confirmation again, there is 2 races. The lowest 2 scores for the drivers will be removed. So out of the 16 races they do, it will be the 14 best rounds that will be accumulated towards their season final total. Richard Gasson in third, with Ryan McCord in fourth, only a point behind. So there might be a big gap up at the top, but there certainly isn't for that final podium position in the championship. Marcel Schneepman, an unfortunate disconnect last week, but still in the hunt with 268 points, 33 to the good over Jurt Scheringa. Cormac Quinn in the Mercedes, again only 12 points back, and with the less than 20 point gap over Tom Solis, the top 10 in the silvers is going to go right down to the wires. Moritz van Cloverdon finds himself only a point behind Solis as well, and Douglas on the periphery, just inside the top 10. He's got a 28 point gap over Nick Cooper, but Van Cloverdon within 7 points, so going to get very close, as I say, over the season in the silvers. Now that it hasn't been close in the pros as well. Here we can see the arms, and it is Daniel Zlatnik in the Ferrari with a 40 point gap over Colin Heselton. We've got Wesley Hovenzant Lawrence in third, Lucas Lutovsky in fourth position. David Blythe in fifth, and Jack Duffy in sixth place. There is only 11 points separating fourth through sixth. Alpha Dog Meat in the Lambo. Finished down the order last week, but still 7th in the championship ahead of Toby Lowens. Ben Knight in 9th. Hopefully Ben's internet has got itself sorted so he can race this evening. I know he was having issues today. Winters and Nice Woodkit in 10th and 11th. The team Snail Aston Martin, often being confused for a Ferrari. There is the sound of cars out on track, and that is the arms coming out to qualify. So let's jump out and have a look what we've got. There we go. It is Zandvoort, and what a track this is. It is good fun. I've had a lot of good fun racing here in open wheelers in the GT3s. It is certainly an entirely different kettle of fish. Built back in 1948, well, it was completed in 1948. It started construction during the war, and the local mayor, invading forces were trying to remove some of the locals to go to some very, very, very not nice places. And yeah, he said that he wanted to make a victory parade road should the invading forces go on to win World War II. So the local residents were allowed to stay, and it was in fact the start-finish straight here at the track. It was finished, as I say, in 1948. So yeah, bringing a lot of entertainment and potentially saving quite a few lives in the process. So 200 IQ, and full congrats to the mayor of the day. The track at the minute, 2.646 miles, 4.2 for the educated and under 40s amongst us. Clearly I'm neither. And it is a phenomenal course. The only thing better than the course itself is the names the corner have into Tarzan Bocht. Bocht, of course, is Dutch for corner. So you will hear a lot of that. Then it's into Gerlach Bocht now on lap 1. I was making some predictions. Potential slight contact here. Turn 1. This one down at the bottom of the hill. Hugenholtz is a fun one. Then it is the Hunzerig Run up over the crest of the hill. Definitely want to make sure you've fully engulfed your breakfast before you go over that one. It will throw the stomach up in the air, and then one of the fastest parts of the track. A nice blind entry into the braking zone. Get the car turned in and get that foot down, not using as much as his own. Warm and black for winter that we're on board with. And then we come towards turn 9. Oh yes, so easy to lose the back of the car through here, cold tyres, all kinds of fun and games through there. We come to turn 10. I really do struggle myself through that particular sector. It really is my Achilles heel. Not that I'm very quick, but it's definitely my Achilles heel at this track. Then we're into Hans Ernst, of course, that sharp right-hander. Pretty much take this in a straight line. Bit of lift. Really don't want too much of that inside curve, but it's quite a raised curve. And then into the final corner, which of course is the previous Inception, not the new fully embanked corner. And yes, I absolutely deliberately avoided pronouncing the corner name. If anybody wants to jump in and give it a blast. But yeah, I wouldn't insult the Dutch language. Even I'm not brazen enough to insult the Dutch language with a go at that one. But we've got some times coming in, and surprise, surprise, it is Daniel Zlatnik who finds himself atop of the ARM timing boards at the minute. 136.8. Not too shabby. Go Team Ferrari. It's a good running by him at the moment. I do sound a bit quiet, do I? Hello. And there we go. Okay, so that is not too bad. We will bring that down a little bit. Hopefully you can hear me. Things sound all kinds of different. But at the minute it is Daniel Zlatnik. He's going to come across the line. He's going to go even quicker and strengthen his grip on the ARM pole position. With Toby Lowe and Brian Bond going very quickly as well. He's going to make an assault on the front 2 rows. Jack Duffy in 6th. It's Craig Winter in 7th. It sounded fine. Okay. So we will crack on then. Nige Woodgett in the Team Snail Ferrari 1.9. We'll go with that one, I think. 8th place at the minute, but he's 2.8 down, but he's got over a second in his pocket, so not getting a commensurate time set early doors. There's Colin Heselton, just giving the grass a bit of a trim, which actually does remind me. Quickly check something, sorry. We've got nope, of course that wasn't set to full. There we go. Bingo. Yeah, Colin Heselton, they're just trimming the grass. Brian Bond did bring home a good time then. He's within a second. Hovenzant Lawrence, one of the drivers in focus. And it's another Team Snail car, so Wesley Hovenzant Lawrence has joined Team Snail. So there we go, in 3rd in the BMW, so the Team Snail slowly making its way through the entire grid. That livery does look good. Now I wonder if they will have a change as well, because I know Daniel Zlatnik does have 2 Snail liveries, and he does like to use different ones for each race, because there is a second race. Reverse order from the finishing positions, the drivers put back into the respective categories. So if any of the silvers or the ARMs do finish ahead of, or indeed the ARMs finish ahead of the silvers, or any of them finish ahead of the pros, they will all be put back into their respective classes, and it'll start pros, silvers and ARMs. Turn 1 here, definitely a fun one. It's a bit like Kyalami. It's not quite as wide on the way in Kyalami. Obviously Kyalami definitely invites 5 wide on the way in. You can really squeeze in. Turn 1 here, an argument could be made that you can definitely get more on the way in than you can on the way out. And there's of course multiple ways to get yourself through that corner. Should you not be on the ideal line with that embankment, you can really use the grip depending on the car that you're in and the setup that you're in. Certainly, again, my most recent experiences in F4s here, and yeah, it's amazing how much speed you can carry through thanks to that embankment. So plenty of aerodynamics, and see the drivers do that as well. Not too many high-speed sections on this track, as we saw. A bit twisty and turny, so high speed not going to be, full speed not going to be massively important in their setup thinking. And obviously the tyres is 25-minute races, so it will be full guns blazing. 31-degree crack temperature at the minute, so certainly won't be cooking the tyres. As Toby Lowen gets to within 3/10, Hollins and Lawrence within half a second. Brian Bond with 19 seconds left to go. We might just be about to lose out to Colin Heselton. In fact, Colin Heselton is on a lap. We've got 9 minutes left, so we're going to see. There we go. There is the pros. Andre Dixon Chen was unable to race last week, but they've got 9 minutes and bang. And away they all go. On a completely separate issue, has anyone ever wondered why some of the pro divisions never seem to have enough room when they're doing outlaps or doing their qualifying? Answers on a postcard. Let's see how Heselton got on. He's got 3/10 of a second in his pocket. He's coming in two. Where is he now? I'm looking at the wrong part of the map. Oh, he's just through turn 9 into turn number 10. So onto the back, almost straight. He comes in at the final chicane and then flying round at the last corner. He is effectively the last out on track that is... oh no, well, yeah, Hollins and Lawrence is out. Toby Lowen has just negated his lap. In fact, Hollins and Lawrence is still out and he's a 10th up. He's hovering, in fact. Hollins and Lawrence could be about to put another snail livery on the front row of the grid. Let's see what Colin Heselton does in the BMW first. Wow, he's got a lot of time in his pocket. Heselton is about to take Bond's position. He does indeed. What is Hollins and Lawrence about to do? Again, strong showing from the BMWs. Up at the front. Oh, that's a whole lot of commitment on that outside curbing there. Hollins and Lawrence giving it some beans. He manages to control. He's got a 10th of a second. Can he get ahead alone? And he's done it. It is a lockout in the arms for Team Snail. Incredible drive there. Zlatnik takes all three purple sectors. Wow, and there is the pros queuing up in the background, taking their time trying to warm the tyres. There is Gasson in the silvers. And the Porsche just behind them, but Zlatnik and Hollins and Lawrence, they make it an all-team snail affair at the front of the grid, separated by less than 3/10 and only 5,500ths behind Hollins and Lawrence is Toby Lowen in the Merc. Three manufacturers in the top three. Colin Heselton just snuck ahead of Bond at the end of qualifying there to take his position on the second row of the grid. Bond will join Duffy on row 3 with Nige Woodcut making it 3 in the top 7 for Team Snail. Winter, Blythe and Alpha Dogme 8th, 9th and 10th. Dogme 2.9 off the pace. I think he'll be a bit quicker than that in the race, certainly. But overall very close. Again, only a second separating the top 6 in the arms. So that is going to be another very good race. The pros and the silvers are out on track at the minute. There's Dixon Chen. Wasn't racing last week. There is Sidlowski. We will get him a livery by the end of the series. I was that busy chatting to viewers in the build-up that I didn't see the message he sent me with his livery, and then I couldn't open it, and yeah, so we will get Sidlowski. He says he does like the stealth black bimmer, so hopefully that wasn't just to suit my technological Shortfalls. There we go. Wow, I'm really struggling with the words tonight. There's Cormac Quinn. We'll see how the Mercedes gets on. We're seeing a couple of times coming in. Revzig. There's Peter Brett outside the top 5 in the championship. He's just put it back up. He's put it on to second already. The Lambo looking good. The Revzig though, looking for his first win of the season, puts it 5 thousandths ahead of Brett, who's 300ths ahead of championship leader Luke Southall. Dan Watts a gargantuan 10th of a second behind the top 3. Hopefully you all understand sarcasm. Whitaker and Dixon Chen 5th and 6th. Sidlowski then the lead silver ahead of Solis and Gasson. BMW's Ferrari. So it's a trend that is repeating. 3 different manufacturers in the top of qualifying for each of the splits. Dan Watts and Marcel Schneepman could certainly buck that trend. Hey! Goodness gracious me, what a battle we are about to see. 800s. Let me formulate another sentence then. We've got 800ths of a second separating the front row of the grid as Luke Southall, championship leader, does championship leader things. He goes 900ths quicker than his teammate Peter Brett, looking to get himself back in the championship top 3. He's less than a tenth and a half. Less than a tenth and a half off the pace. It is Watts again, much like the championship, he's leading the RTO chart. He's got 3,800 hits quicker than Sigurd Revzig. Professional face, John, professional face. But the smile is real because you've got Dixon Chen. He's only 3,200ths again behind Revzig, exactly 2/10 off Wally, off pole position time, and he finds himself in 5th. It's John Watson in 6th, James Whitaker in 7th, and then Paul Sidlowski holding on to 9th place. And all the pros have set times, and all the pros have managed to keep ahead of the silvers. In the silvers, look at the difference in times here again. We have got less than 700ths separating Sidlowski and Solis. Sharinga a couple of tenths back. He's just checking that the marshals have got themselves a cup of coffee. They're going to have flags waving through this one. Schneepman in. He's 1.3 seconds off pole, but he's less than 2/10 behind Sharinga. McCord and Cooper have set almost identical times. So too Richard Gasson and Christian Holzer, all of them 1.5 seconds off the overall pole and within 6/10 of their own pole position as Christoph Holzer puts in a banker and then gets outdone by Neil Cooper. Nick Cooper right at the death, and Richard Gasson says anything the pros can do up at the top, us silvers can do way better. He's just taken pole position from Sidlowski by less than half a tenth of a second over almost 3 miles of track. Woo! Oh, this series could well be the end of it, but it's maybe just as well these races are only 25 minutes long. Southall's going quicker. He's got Jordan Watson 3,300ths behind, and he's going quicker. He's now separating Brett, who's still 8,800ths off that pole time. Watts and Revzig. Revzig looking to improve. Sidlowski looking to improve. He's chasing Gasson in the closing stages there. This is incredible stuff. We've got a minute left. Lovrig is in the pit, so he is going to start where he is going to start. Daniel Zlatnik bucking the trend through the field. He's got himself ahead of a silver. No other division has managed to get ahead of the division above. Whitaker's got 3/10 ahead of Gasson in the silvers, and Revzig's just taken pole by 200ths, and he's pulled in, and here comes the Porsche Southall across the line. Is he going to improve? No, but he's got another lap. It's now half a tenth separating the top 3. Peter Brett now just up the wrong side of a tenth off a pole. Dan Watts now a nice even 10th and a half off pole thanks to his teammate Revzik, popping it there on the penultimate lap of qualifying. Luke Southall, championship leader, can he get it back on the top spot? And Peter Brett is looking to blow them all out the water at the minute. Ryan McCord too. If he brings this one home and he's in the last corner, that's some good times he's got banked there. Here comes Ryan McCord out of the last corner. Let's watch this Mercedes throw himself into... Oh, he lost a little bit there out of the last corner. He's going to start in 5th, but Sidlowski, so there we go, the top. Wow, there's too much for me to keep up with once again, as we've got Sidlowski has taken pole in the silvers from Gasson and has got ahead of one of the pros, the division up, which is exactly what Daniel Zlatnik has managed to do as well with the silvers. Peter Brett's gone pole. I did say he was carrying a bit of time and going to blow them all out the water. He's going a 10th ahead. I'm going to need a co-commentator for this, absolutely 100,000,000%. We've got Peter Brett then, he's on pole. Luke Southall bringing home the lap, he's a 10th down. Richard Gasson is a 10th up. Can he get home the time? Has Luke Southall got anything out the final corner, right at the final throw qualifying? No, he doesn't. Qualifying is done. Luke Southall's going to start on the second row with Jordan Watson, who's within a 10th and a half. He's gone quicker than Dan Watts after Peter Brett puts 2.5 tenths between the RTOs. Lead Championship Challenger on track though. It's Revzik leading the way for RTO Southall. In 3rd, Watson. 4th, Dan Watts. In 5th, Dixon Chen. Richard Gasson is still out on track. No, he can't because he is in Zandvoort. We've got Tom Solis still out on track, and he's got 3/10 of a second. He's going to come across the line. This is a very quick time from Solis. He's making an assault on pole position in his class, and he's going to get very close indeed. A 10th of a second separating the top of the silvers. There's a 10 separating the top 3 in the pros, and there's only 3/10 separating the top 3 in the arms. And breathe. As we saw in the opening qualifying session, Zlatnik, Ovens and Lawrence and Lohan taking the top 3 spots. Heslett and Bond, Duffy, Woodcut, Winter. Blythe and Dogmeat, the top 10 in the arms. In the silver, Sidlowski hangs on to by a 10th of a second over Solis. Gasson, 28 hundredths behind Solis. Holzer, Cooper 4th and 5th, and McCord in 6th, Sharinga in 7th, Schneepman in 8th, Lovrick in 9th, and Cormac Quinn rounding out the top 10 in the silvers. And it is 3 manufacturers in the top 3 of the arms and the silvers. It's Watts. Watson's on pole position. That was who he said. Yeah, of course. Sorry, yes. I've got myself completely, absolutely lost with everything that was going on there. Watson in the Lamborghini makes it 2 Lamborghinis. So the pros bucking the trend. 23 hundredths for Watson at the death there. Brett and Revzik singing the 3rd. Southall in 4th place. Watts in 5th. Dixon Chen in 6th position. Then it's Sidlowski and Solis in the silvers ahead of Whitaker, who is 7th in the pros. That was quite a qualifying session. I'm going to have to take a second to catch my breath. As you can see, it is RTO Season 6, 8 rounds, 16 races, 8 reverse order grids, 38 drivers. We've got a strong showing this evening once again.
10 seconds.
We've had Misano, Nürburgring, Laguna Seca, Donington, Hungaroring. Zandvoort is where we are this evening, of course. And then it is 2 of the most difficult turn 1s in the whole of racing. Suzuka and Monza, all sponsored, of course, by Luke Addison Setups. A lot of progress goes a long way. So if you are looking for setups, please make sure those first steps start with a journey to Luke's website. and get involved in some coaching or some of the setups that he has. And all Lambo affair at the front. It is a short order start for the drivers. We'll try and keep an eye right down through the order. And in fact, Zlatnik always behind behind Quinn, so Quinn did get ahead. So it is only the two silvers bucking the trend there up at the front. This is going to be an incredible turn one. There we go, his foot down, it's flat out and it's flying into turn one. We go as the Porsche of Southall looks to get the jump on Revsing. It looks like he might just have done that. Watson holds his ground on the middle line, but on the brakes, the BMW getting good rotation, almost a bit of contact there. Southall not able to hold off on that position. Watts and Dixon Chen make it all the way through. Cormac Quinn going side by side with Loverick early doors and down in the arms. Oh, and there's the contact. I did predict through that corner. I did think there'd be a bit of a touch through there. We've got Brian Bond, bit of a rear end in there on lap one. Nothing down through the embanked hairpin then, no, so only one contact on lap number one in the opening corners, which is great to see. 32 track degree temperature, but not much time to get those tyres up to PSI with that short start. And Jordan Watson wasting no time with that short start to get himself a nice little 4/10 gap. Revsig coming under all kinds of pressure there from championship leader Southall. Everyone holding their positions in the early stages as Gasson finds himself in 4th place. Christoph Holzer in 3rd in the silvers. He is having a look up the inside of Whittaker though. The pro driver coming under pressure from the arms behind. Oh, and that is Sidlowski. Silver championship leader Sidlowski is off on. There's a Lamborghini off as well. No, it's not. It's Tom Solis, I believe. Let's have a look and see what happened here. So Tom Solis through 9 and 10. I did pick 9 as being a bit of a troublesome corner, but they've made it through there in short order. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. So it's coming towards. Oh, and yeah, so it was the Ferrari of Solis, and that has put the silver championship leader so far down the order, 20th position overall, and in fact behind Winter. He's now got 4 arms ahead of him, so that means that Christoph Holzer has been gifted the lead of the silvers, while still being gifted some slipstream from pro driver James Whittaker ahead. It's Jordan Watson in the Lambo doing all the running at the front, but it's Peter Brett in the opening exchanges that's clocked the fastest lap. So good Revsig and Luke Southall still giving chase. Southall got a bit of a gap back to Watts, who's still defending from Dixon Chen. Whittaker finding himself under increasing pressure into turn number 9. It's going to be Christoph Holzer has a look up the inside. Not too much defence from the Mercedes. I think he realises the Lambo has gone for pace at this point in the race. No point in over battling if you don't need Richard Gasson just behind. He'll be hoping for the same kind of courtesy from his fellow Mercedes driver as he chases a potential silver win after the early undoing of Sidlowski and Solis. Solis running down at the back and right in the middle of the pack for the arms. The arms still comfortably being led by championship leader Daniel Zlatnik, who is leading the team snail proudly as Hooven and Lawrence finds himself in 2nd position still, with Toby Lone still in 3rd. That's Paul Sidlowski, so that's not going to affect his overall position, of course. Lone in the arms, just going to get that one out of the way. He knows that the two ahead will give the same respect to Sidlowski as well. Nigel Woodkid's made up a couple of places in the early exchanges, certainly. Will we see an all-team Snail Esports podium? I reckon we might before the end of the season. I'm going to call it now. 50-50 chance, and they're a good team. We've seen Nice Woodcut make up good places in race number 2 last week, and he's certainly putting the pressure on Winter at the minute, clocking a couple of sectors, one of the sectors a bit quicker when he's finding the space. Watson losing 2/10 to Brett Revsig and Southall, still battling away. The championship leader furiously trying to find the way past Dan Sigurd Revsig. My apologies, it's Watson 5th ahead of Dixon Chen. Dixon Chen all over the back of him, as you can see. coming into the final chicanery. Hans Ernst, very close battle between the two of them. 3/10 dropped by Brett. Jordan Watson, definitely a contender when he gets out the front. We've seen some wholehearted battles between Watson and Brett so far this season. The two drivers, when the Lamborghini is doing well at a track, these two definitely do well at that track. Revzig doing well to hold off Southall at the minute. The BMW showing good legs along that start-finish straight. Christoph Holzer coming under increasing pressure from Gasson behind because Whittaker is retaken that position. So the Mercedes back ahead, which I did not register fully up until now. Sidlowski still separating the ARM podium, putting him almost at the back of the pack for the Silvers. So this will be an extra impetus for drivers like Holzer, Gasson, Cooper McCord to bring home as many points as possible, given the championship leader is going to find himself outside the top 5 pretty comfortably, you would say. He's just got himself past Heuven St. Lawrence again. Lawrence unlikely to be putting up too much of a battle there. He very much knows he's got his own race to run. He's in second place, he's on the podium. Top 2 spots for Team Snail on his Team Snail debut in the series. Doesn't look too bad on the resume of the team manager, that is for sure. Not looking bad on the resume at the minute. It is the purple lap of Jordan Watson, and he does need that purple lap because Peter Brett has found that 3/10 of a second. That's a terrible camera in the Lamborghini. There we go, much better. Out of the non-embanked last corner. It is a straight drag race into turn number 1. Lambo v Lambo. 2 seconds of a gap they've got over the chasing pack. Nowhere near that gap into turn 1. Luke Southall's Revzig is going to have, because look at Southall in that Porsche hanging right on in the back. 25-minute race to see Revzig or Southall make a mistake. Unlikely, I think, is the understatement of the year there. Dan Watts and Dixon Chen pretty much in the same boat. They're going to be relying on one another to make some kind of mistake again. In a 25-minute sprint race like this, it's highly unlikely, especially from Dixon Chen, when you consider he does 8-hour races at Imola single-handed. Like it ain't no thing, quite frankly. Richard Gasson still chasing Holzer for that win. They've got Whittaker the wrong way behind him. Whittaker is the wrong way behind him. Let's see what happened to the pro driver. Oh, this is turn number 9. They're coming towards the field. No, it's not. It's the last corner. Shows my track knowledge. So this is into turn number 1. And he's got a bit of a gap back to the Silvers that he was trading positions with. The Lamborghini's certainly getting close there. Has a touch of the inside curb on one. Bit of lateral movement there. Just through the middle phase of the corner, potentially. That might just be a bit of a wiggle on my screen. Really mounts the entrance curve to 3 down the hill. Oh, for me, that's not the best place to be touching that curve. And yeah, on the right hand side, you can certainly find him advance a lot of time on the grass. That's not a lot of control of the car. That's a lot of airtime he's gotten out of the way of the Lamborghini. A lot less control. A bit of airtime from the kitty litter. Spins across the track and gets a great view of the rest of the field flying past him where he's got to hold his brakes. That's Team Snail. So that's the podium in the arms. Have made their way through there. Whittaker down 22nd overall. And it's now just going to be an exercise in overtaking the arms ahead for the rest of the race for the pro driver. Meanwhile, up at the front, Peter Brett. There we go. Let's have a look. I love that right hand corner there. You really can throw your car at that curve. This one fills me with absolute dread. As we see these two Lambos making their way through 9 and 10 once again. We're 5 laps away. We've already got raced 9 minutes. But we've still got 16 minutes to go. Don't worry, there's still plenty of action. Because it's still unfolding at the minute. Because look at the gap between the leaders. And oh, there's Gasson. Gasson's in the lead. Gasson's in the lead. So let's have a look at this. That's one I've missed, so we can go back and watch the replay. So this is into turn number 1. Christoph Holzer has got himself the lead in the Silvers as we see, and that is Nick Cooper. Oh, and he's just put himself onto the grass there. That's not where you want to lose momentum, and that is effectively a very easy pass for the lead for Richard Gasson in the Mercedes. So there we go, slight driver error by Christoph Holzer, and that has put him in second place, and with Nick Cooper now well within striking distance, as we can see. They head the way towards 9 and 10 in the replay. Cooper losing a bit of pace, Holzer not losing so much pace, so he's definitely hanging in to this battle for the lead, but that is a change in the silvers. I'm glad we managed to catch that one on the replay. Zlatnik now coming under pressure, or not so much coming under pressure, oh sorry, Sidlowski, he's made his way past, so he's caught up to the back of the silvers, and it's Marcel Schneepman. That's the two S's that was going for there. That is the battle between Schneepman and Cormac that's been unfolding. So I've missed this battle as it's been carrying on. My apologies to these two drivers for everything going on between the leaders in the splits. It's easy to lose track of what's going on in the mid-pack because Sharinga and McCord, they're wholeheartedly going at it as well, and Schneepman and Quinn have now got the Sidlowski equation to deal with. Not only that, they've got Daniel Zlatnik, who knows how to hang on to the back of these silvers, and he is certainly the gap between Schneepman and Zlatnik is very much being breached by Quinn and Sidlowski, meaning that Zlatnik could find himself with an ever-increasing gap back to Lowen, and Hovens and Lawrence, given the toll that he's getting from the silver drivers ahead. Does Sidlowski have the pace and the time left in the race to get past these two and make an offence onto Lovric ahead? It's going to be a bit of a jump as he can. Sharinga is potentially slowing down McCord ever so slightly, although that is a decent gap there, so McCord not likely to be driving overly defensive at the minute. Up at the top, Peter Brett and Jordan Watson, still only 3.5 tenths separating these two, much like the gap between Dixon Chen and Watts. Revzig and Southall, somewhat of a gap there, just over half a second, so definitely one of the biggest that we've seen over the race as we race our way to the halfway mark of round number 6 in RTO season 6. It's the two races of Zandvoort this evening, and qualifying really was a phenomenal opener given the times, and the race has been absolutely non-stop action as Paul Sidlowski looking to take more positions. And I did say that Daniel Zlatnik would easily hang on to these drivers ahead given the pace, and he definitely is. He's not going to do anything too crazy, but if these all swap positions, he's going to just hang on to that slipstream and get pulled along. He's found another 2 tenths just in that sector there, as we can see them going side by side. Oh no, they're not. The BMW just trying to get out of the slipstream. That's going to open up for Sidlowski to potentially look for a cutback out of the last corner if he can keep this nice and neat. Doesn't use a lot of the curb on the right, so not as unsettled, heavy on the brakes. Does open up maybe a bit too much in there, uses the middle section of that curve very nicely, and it is a straight drag race and a whole lot of slipstream for the group ahead, so Zlatnik not going to benefit this time, but Lorik is pulling them all into turn number 1, and he's pulled Schneepman right round the outside. Not only that, Cormac Quinn potentially is a full Noah's Ark. Oh, and the Porsche just making contact with the Mercedes of Schneepman on the exit, opening the door for Cormac Quinn to make it interesting into turn number 3, and he's going to make it even more interesting into turn number 4 as he gets his Mercedes nose firmly in front. Sidlowski not really sure which horse to back in this race at this position. I'm sure, as you can see, Cormac Quinn does get the move done on Schneepman, and Schneepman losing a lot of pace to Sidlowski. Sidlowski round the outside of turn number 6. We all hold our breath. Beautifully controlled driving. This is the silvers. Phenomenal stuff, and David Zlatnik still lurking there in the background enjoying the view. I'm absolutely sure as Toby Lovric will be appreciating the battle that's now going on behind him. He was 3 corners away from losing his position. He's now got a new driver courting his 6th position. This is the battle for 6th in the silvers as they head onto the back straight-ish into Hans Ernst, and it's round it outside for Szydlowski. RTO, look at that move through that chicane. That is incredible work on the brakes, and Szydlowski is going to follow through as well. It's going to be a bit of a drag race into the final corner, and it's going to be Cormac Quinn that does hold on in the position, and through comes Daniel Zlatnik. Daniel Zlatnik, the door got open and he said, thank you very much. If y'all are going to battle, I'm going to take me some positions as well. He's not done anything crazy, he's not forced the issue, he's just seen the drivers ahead of him slow themselves up, and he's popped himself through on Szydlowski. This is the battle again for 6th position in the silvers as championship leader Paul Szydlowski trying to make his way through on the way into 9. It was a bit of a wiggle by Snapeman. Into 10, shallower line being taken by Zlatnik in the Ferrari. Look at that, 3 wide on the exit. Staggered, almost like a middle distance athletics race. The 400 metres, it was a staggered start. It certainly wasn't staggered. Staggering move by Snapeman through the final chicane. Szydlowski has a bit of a wiggle, runs wide. Him and McCord both losing massive amounts of massive amounts of momentum, and here comes Zlatnik in the team snail car. Nothing sluggish about his reactions there as he saw the position up for grabs, and Szydlowski losing out big time as we get a beautiful view of the underworld here in Holland. Back to the action, and Szydlowski then 16th overall. He's got Zlatnik ahead of him, and we've got Tom Solis who's made a solid charge back through the field. Let's see what's happening up at the front. It's as you were. It's Jordan Watson putting in Olympic level laps. It's Peter Brett putting in Olympic level laps. Revzig's closed a bit. Yes, he has. He's within 1.9 seconds. Southall still in 4th place. Dan Watson 5th. It's Gasson in 7th overall. Now with a 2.6 second gap over Holzer, who's finding his 2nd place on the podium. Fairly tenuous at the minute as Ryan McCord in the Velocity Esports McLaren is going through a bit of a purple section of the race. We're within 8 minutes of the final checkered flag, and it's Marcel Snapeman who's managed to catch back up to Lovrik. Lovrik, still the keeper of 6th position in the silvers. There's still a potential 4-way battle going on, as we can see. In fact, no, there isn't, because Zlatnik and Holmesdal Lawrence is now ahead of Szydlowski. Szydlowski now finding himself battling with Tom Solis, and this is for last place in the silvers. The drivers that started 1st and 2nd in the silvers now find themselves battling out for last place in the silvers. 17th and 18th overall. 2 of the AMs ahead of them. I'm really starting to vocalise the classes this evening. I don't know what's going on. But yes, Szydlowski and Solis battling out for last place. Reverse order grid is where I was going with this, of course. It's a reverse order grid in the next race. So if they stay here for the next 7 minutes, they're going to start race 2 in 1st and 2nd position. It'll be Solis in 1st and Szydlowski in 2nd as it stands. So it will be a slight reversal. But it's not worked out too badly, as Tom Solis' final corner doesn't work out too well. But that might be a bit of strategy. He's going to start 1st in race number 2. Yeah, why not make the most of that? We've got a pause timer on that. It should still be working. Yes, it is. As Tomas Lovrik, he's definitely still working. We do love that livery as well. We'll do it. No, we can't do a livery roundup because we've got too much action and they're all too close, as Southall still putting pressure on Revzig. It'll be like watching a pot boil, waiting on Revzig or Watts to make mistakes for Dixon Chen and Southall. Sharinga will be feeling the same thing as well. He's got Ryan McCord just ahead of him, and Nick Cooper still looking for an improvement on his podium position in the silvers. Down at the back, Alpha Dogmeat bringing up the rear. Mr. Double Raven, no comms channel tonight. What's to do? Yes, I can jump in, certainly, yes. Yeah, because you weren't joining me this evening. Oh, you are there. Oh, okay. Mr. Linksay, I obviously didn't read your message properly because, well, I struggle to read, quite frankly. Hey, but who is this person? moved it a lot. But there we go, yes, I am in the comms channel, Mr. Joe Boyle. I do have your microphone. Oh no, you are straight on the stream. You're live on Channel 4, please do not swear. How are you this evening, good sir?
Not too bad, how are you guys? I'm finally back so I can jump in and say hi.
Excellent. How much are you enjoying the action? I mean, why did you even bother jumping in to say hi? Why not just sit with your feet up and watch? This is incredible stuff once again. We've got 4:10s separating the top two in the pros. We've got half a second separating the podium in the silvers. And Daniel Zlatnik has proven why he is the championship leader. But Hovensand Lawrence Sadlowski saw all the action, all the time links here. We've got 4.5 minutes left in the race, so you've got 30 seconds to say your piece before I burst in and bring us to the end of the race. Go.
Peter Brett obviously keeping Jordan Watson honest at the front, and obviously these guys have history from Donington, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes by the end of the race. We know how fast the SOP driver is, Peter Brett. Ref seems to be holding on to P3, but Luke Southall is all over the back of him. But it's interesting to see Richard Gasson leading, absolute country mile as well. So he's doing a great job in silvers. And same with Zlatnik. He's actually chasing down some of the silvers now. So you can see the pace that he has and the confidence he has in that Snell Ferrari as well, which is awesome to see. It'd be interesting if we can get the, like you say, I thought we'd get a double podium, or at least for the silvers. In the AMS for the Team Snell, but we'll see how it goes by the end of the race, and see how they can continue their march in the AMS division.
Yeah, and it is. They're definitely still on for that podium. Hovensand Lawrence, the Team Snail BMW does have Tom Solis ahead of him. Again, the battle between. What's happened to Sadlowski? Oh, Sadlowski's further down the order. Right, yeah, let's not watch a replay of that because there's a bit of contact. Yeah, we don't need to see somebody crashing their car a lot. Just for the, let's face it, if you're having a bad race, you don't need it to be made worse by people pointing out every contact. It's what, sorry?
Sometimes, maybe.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, maybe now and again. Nice little reminder just how easy it is. This track here. What are your thoughts on this track? Actually, you're recently a convert to the McLaren road. Have you spent much time around here in the McLaren? And what are your thoughts overall on Zandvoort? In fact, I'll tell you what, we'll wait till between the race for that silly question, John, because we've only got 3 minutes of the race left to go. So we'll do that between races. Yeah, we've only got half a second separating the top two. I go into interview mode far too easily. Southall with half a second. Dixon Chen has got Dan Watts just ahead of him. Sharinga still chasing down Ryan McCord. He made some good moves early doors. Snapeman looking still to get a move on Thomas Lovright, who's had a great race so far, fending off the advances of the drivers behind. I mean, we've seen some great overtaking going on behind. Let's not downplay the Bad Pig's performance in this race. He has fended these drivers off. He's come under attack from both Quinn and Schneepman, and at one point almost Sadlowski as well, fending them all off. He's holding on to that 6th position valiantly at the minute. Really big movers in the silvers. Obviously Sadlowski championship leader, now down to 20th overall, and Whittaker after a not great start, but he's going to start race 2 in pole position. So too will Paul Sadlowski again. Ironically, it is going to be Sadlowski and Solis they take the front row of the grid in the silvers, with it being that reverse order grid. We've got a minute and a half left to go. We've still got 4:10s separating first and second. We've still got 4:10s separating third and fourth in the pros. Richard Gasson, as Joe was pointing out there, absolutely flying up at the front of the silvers, face melting pace compared to the rest of the pack that are chasing them. Christoph Holzer has managed to fend off the advances of Nick Cooper, who might be looking ever so slightly over his shoulder, because McCord might be fending off Sharinga, but he's certainly not losing a lot of pace to Cooper ahead, and that gap is closing. Oh, just as we see the BMW McCord having a bit of extra lateral movement on the way out of Hans Ernst. Always a fun corner. Yep, and he's managed to gather it back up, so not too detrimental. Of course, the tyres, even at 33 degrees, over 25 minutes, yeah, you could push them a bit too much, but they should still be well within a comfortable window. Peter Brett, is he in a comfortable enough window to bring home the race win? We've got some blue flag traffic for the leaders to deal with on the last lap. And the BM... Oh, and the... Wow, what a save by Peter Brett there. Let's do a quick 10-second replay. At the back of the car thinking, yep, I'm going to nip that way. Oh, the extra steering input there for Peter Brett. That is... yeah, a very good save there indeed. Dixon Chen still all over the back. Oh, and they're side by side. Look, Southall, championship leader. He's going for it on the last lap. He's got Sigurd Revsing. Does he have him sized up? Out with turn number 10. They were side by side. I'm going to miss the winner across the line. And Peter Brett now 1.4 seconds down. He's having a look into Hans Ernst. He's waited 25 minutes to get the move. Can he get it done? Revsing. Oh, he does hold that inside line, so he closes off the cutback options. It's going to be a drag race out with the last corner. Jordan Watson is coming out of the last corner. He's got 1.4 seconds over Brett. Revsing and Southall are still nose to tail. It's going to be a drag race. Right, there is Jordan Watson crossing the line. Peter Brett crosses the line as Revsing. He does manage to keep his nose in front by a 0.2 of a second ahead of Southall. Dan Watts fends off the advances of Dixon Chen by 0.3 to bring home 5th and 6th, and then it is gas on. What a drive. 4.7 seconds ahead of second place Christoph Holzer in the Lamborghini. Nick Cooper rounding out the podium in 3rd, and it's going to be Ryan McCord fending off Sharinga for 5th. McCord in 4th, Sharinga in 5th, Thomas Lobrecht. Let's see this battle across the line. Lobrecht did finish ahead of Quinn, and Daniel Zlatnik takes the checkered flag and an extra 360 spin and the turn 1 braking marker with him. Why not? Because he will be celebrating, of course, because that is Wesley Hovensant Lawrence, 2nd place in the... Oh, and it is a top 3. It's Nige Woodcut. Oh no, he's not. He's 4th. My apologies. Got excited there, Thomas. I apologise. Toby Lowen in the Mercedes. He brings it home to round out the podium. But Nige Woodcut making up 4 places to get Team Snail over in the top 3. That's RTO levels of consistency, Joe. What a race one that was. Nope, he's not there anymore. Oh no, he is still there, but his mic's on mute. He's maybe listening to the stream, so there's a bit of a delay, so it'll take him a second. But that is, let me just grab a replay of that one. This is so clunky, but we'll get that fixed soon. Let's have a look. Confirmation then of the results. Latnik, Hovensant, Lawrence and Lowen on the podium for the ARMS. Woodcut, Duffy, Winter and Bond coming home 5th, 6th and 7th. Alva Dogme in 8th, Blythe and Heselton 9th and 10th. It is in the silvers, Gasson, Holzer and Cooper on the podium, and McCord, Sharinga and Schneepman in 4th, 5th and 6th. Loverick, Quinn, Solis and Sidlowski. Solis and Sidlowski on the front row again. And in the pros, Jordan Watson leads from start to finish and brings home a race win and the fastest race lap. Peter Brett in 2nd, Revsing in 3rd. Southall tried all he could on that final lap, but no move to be made. Finishes in 4th with Watts and Dixon Chen. Only 0.3 apart for 5th and 6th. James Whittaker in 7th will start race number 2 at the start. At the front of the grid. Of course, it is reverse order grid for race number 2. Oh yeah, there we go. So that's everyone. Yep, leaving the server. We'll get the next server set up very quickly. But the competition, of course, sponsored by Luke Addison. A little progress each day adds up to big results. Again, I cannot recommend the Ferrari setups enough, but there is plenty there. They've got coaching for an hour with Luke himself, the Aston Martin, the Audi, the Honda, the Ferrari 296, the BMW, the Lamborghini, the McLaren Evo, the Porsche 992, the Mercedes, and the Porsche 991, all available on Luke's website. So if you are looking to get yourself some coaching or some setups, then lukeaddison-racing.com, 100% the place to get that journey started. Okay, we've got Joe. He's just quickly sorting the grid. We'll quickly bring up the some highlights, and we'll have a quick look at a couple of the drivers as well. Another 3 of the drivers we've got some information for. What I'm going to do though is I need to just disconnect a couple of things in the background before race 2 so they connect properly. So let's jump on board with these highlights, and I will be back in a sec. Yeah, so there we can see some of the on-track action. That's Holzer and Whitaker. We'll keep an eye on, we'll watch some of this. It is RTO season number 6, as I mentioned, throughout the season. We've been getting to know some of the drivers. And this week seems somewhat fitting given the race that he's just had. One of the drivers is in fact Wesley Hovenzant Lawrence. Great podium there as well, and he drives, he doesn't use a wheel or a rig, so I think he's on a joypad, which is absolutely incredible. He is Dutch. He is his ambitions to get himself into the silver class in RTO and improve himself. He's on the right path. I think we can all agree, definitely trending upwards on that one, and that is what we should have had there. My apologies. So yeah, Wesley Hovenzant Lawrence in the silver, and yeah, looking to improve, sorry, to get into the silvers, and definitely trending upwards on that one. That's me trying to be too fancy for more good. Let's bring this back to here. Another one of the drivers that we're looking at this evening, and yeah, I'm going to have to admit a little bit of bias towards this one. I am a monstrously huge fan of this individual, Andre Dixon Chen. It's over 9,000 RPM on Twitch, of course. If you're in the chat, Andre, shout up, say hello. I'm sure he is. Leon Seeley in the chat as well. Goodness me, the chat's been absolutely kicking off. My apologies, there was so much action going on there. I barely looked over at the chat. I'm absolutely remiss in my duties this evening. But we'll, yes, I will definitely get to the chat very, very, very shortly. Once I've waxed lyrical about one of my favourite streamers, Andre Dixon Chen. As I mentioned in the race, he did an 8-hour Imola race, single-handed. That is the level of dedication that Mr. Dixon Chen has got. At the moment, he's yep, he has got all the toys. He's got a SimuCube 2 Pro and the Heusing Velt Sprint pedals. His ambitions are to take part in at least one SRO organised race, and he's been sim racing and gaming, sorry, since 1997. A phenomenal year, in fact, 1997. That's when I had my little girl, Princess Raven. So yeah, big fan of that particular year, it has to be said. Another one of the drivers, and it's actually one of Dixon Chen's teammates that we're going to be talking about next, is Nick Cooper. He is a sim racer from the UK, of course, part of the Velocity esports team. Another driver this week in Focus that's finished on the podium, and he'll certainly, I'm sure, have inter-team bragging rights as he managed to get a podium this week, and Dixon Chen not quite. Somebody just give me a big wooden spoon and a cauldron. I will just start stirring that absolutely beautifully. Nick Cooper is the driver that we're talking about. Of course, Velocity esports that he drives for. We've seen him in the silvers. He's got the Moza R5 bundle and the Formula GT light rig, and his goal was to join a team, and he is now very happily a part of Velocity esports. So congratulations on reaching your goal. Onwards and upwards, and yeah, start bringing home some results as well, and plays predominantly ACC. The same too for Dixon Chen. Wesley Holmes and Lawrence didn't mention he does play ACC, and likes a bit of the old motocross as well. So yeah, good variety. That is the 3 drivers in focus for this week. We will be bringing you another 25-minute of race very shortly. Reverse order grid. Let's have a look in the chat again. Apologies for the music at the start. That was a bit of a schoolboy error on my part. I got confused with my hotkeys. Everything's whatever, fool. How we doing? Good evening. Hello, sexy humans. It is missing an O. Honestly, I was supposed to say hello. I did guess that. Although you might not be a Zandvoort fan, so that might have been an opening statement towards the track. But no, how are you doing, Phil? Welcome in. Whatever, Phil. That's his name. I'm not calling him a fool. No. You know what they say? It's better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and confirm it. So with that being said, it's a good night for me. We have Blind Bond in as well. Nicholas, of course. Good evening, Nicholas. Here I was chatting away with before the broadcast started. I'm still not able to work out what 400% of 0 is, I'm afraid, Nicholas. So I'm still working on that one. We will get there. We will get there. 0. Whispering sweet nothings in my ear is the mathematical mastermind himself, Mr. Joe Boyle. How we doing, Joe?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Race first race.
It really was a good race, first race. How does Joe sound for everyone? Go speak with me, Joe.
Hello, 2 1 2 1 2. Is it not sounding good enough? So you give me 1 second, I can change that. Hang on. Okay, is that any better?
Oh goodness, yes.
There we go.
There we
Back
go.
to the broadcast, Mike.
Back to the broadcast, Mike. Excellent stuff. Yep, and I can even be up to 100%. So there we go. That, Joe, again, I can't wax lyrical enough about the quality of the racing that we're seeing week in, week out. I wasn't joking when I said that this race series might be the end of me, and it's maybe just as well the races are only 25 minutes, even though I keep begging for them to be longer.
Yeah, I mean,
incredible stuff week in, week out, and another crack.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that was the whole reason for the 25 minutes. A lot of series, out there, they do like an hour and a half, pit stops, create strategy and things like this, which is, really interesting. And I love being a part of those myself, especially with people like SOP. But we wanted to create something different, a bit more of a fight, a bit more of a, everyone or every driver, for themselves, where they just, they only have 25 minutes. And then obviously in race 2, it makes it even more difficult because they've then got to go and do it all again, but they've got to come through the field. And at this track, it is going to be extremely difficult to do that in a clean manner. And Jordan Watson, as you've just seen, across the line a few minutes ago on those replays, he absolutely bossed it today, pole position, just drove away with it, really, really calm, collected, and Peter Brett doing a great job pulling it up into P2 as well, and refs holding on to the top podium place in the pros.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff, and right down through the field, and it does. We've got an interesting dynamic going into race 2 because of the reverse order grid. We're going to see race 2 in the silvers start exactly the way it did in race 1, with Sidlowski and Solis early contact lap 1. Unfortunately, it was in the corner I predicted, but cold tyres at Zandvoort. Okay, let's not mess about, it's going to happen. Unfortunately, it was only 2 cars though, and the 2 of them did suffer. They found themselves right at the back of the grid, last and second last. So they two have now got the ideal opportunity to make up for finishing last and second last, because with the reverse order grid, they're going to be ahead of their main competitors in the silvers, and definitely going to be looking back. It's just how the 2 of them handle it. Did they go full-blooded, or did they just a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush? And we'll see if I can bring home and make a mistake or something, force a mistake. But it's an interesting dynamic going into race 2, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, both of them, they showed off in quali that they've obviously got very good pace. There was a bit of a mistake from Tom there, I believe, a bit late on the brakes or cold tyres. I didn't really manage to see it. Obviously, I just heard you call it, and while I was making my way home. It's one of those things, and Zandvoort being so tight and twisty, and it's just corner after corner after corner. There's not even the only straight here is the pit straight. It really tests the drivers here, and if one little mistake, you don't end up letting one car through. It could be 2 or 3 because of the how close they are on the track at the moment. And in that, with these 2 being very, very quick, starting on the first 2 slots, I think maybe the first couple of laps they might just go, right, okay, let's hold station, let's try and build a gap or whatever, and then I think you'll see Tom, maybe if he's got the pace there, try and attack, Paul for the win towards the end of the race.
Yeah, it's going to be. It is going to be a fascinating one, and again, I think we could be primely poised. Let's talk about the AMS, of course, because again, phenomenal racing right through all of the divisions. Gaston and Holzer didn't even get a mention there in the silvers because of the Sidlowski-Solis equation. But in the AMS, I would say it's actually looking pretty good for that Team Snail podium. I know the top 2 are going to be starting at the back of the grid, but certainly with the pace that Aston likes to show in the series, of course. Who's it that drives the Aston again?
Nigel Woodcote.
Nige Woodcote, there we go. It's because I keep calling him Neil, I get confused. But yeah, Team Snail, great debut for Hobbins at Lawrence, who we're talking about, who's on a joypad, I believe. Doesn't even have a wheel. Phenomenal stuff. So Team Snail, it's looking pretty good for them in race number 2. Certainly with the AMS being so closely bunched together, they could definitely work their way through the field and bring home a Team Snail full podium. That would be quite the achievement.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a great little team there. I think one of the main things in starting at the back in the AMS especially is to avoid any carnage at the start that's ahead of them. The last thing you want to do is arrive on scene with any carnage that's happened ahead and then end up binning the race because you've hit them or just joined into the crash that's happened. So the main thing for me, if I was racing at the back here, I'd just be like, right, first lap, just consolidate, make sure that we know we've got the pace, because obviously we finished at the top in race 1. Let people make mistakes in the first couple of laps, and then just try and push the way through the grid over the remaining 23 minutes or so, and try and see how far you get. I mean, you've got the win and P2, for example, in race 1, so now it's just about maximising the points you can get in race 2, and not binning all the great work that you did in race 1 by ended up getting caught up in something silly at the start. And like you say, Rich Gasson, he's going to start at the back of the silvers, but I guarantee he will be there or thereabouts at the end of the race, because the man is so quick. He's dialed that Mercedes in really well over the season. Unlike some of the RTO drivers, which we've seen on the chat tonight, there's a couple of Mercedes in the RTO boys that have just managed to not get it to where they need to, and I'm sure in race 2 they'll turn that around.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Lots on the line. 6 rounds in, we've still got 5 races to go. This one, and then of course Suzuka and Monza. Battle of the turn ones for me. There, I still say Suzuka's more difficult turn 1 than Monza. Jump back to the chat as well. We've got Leon Seeley in there. Oh my goodness, that was close. Yes, it was. Leon saying, if I know Peter, he's gonna send it. Didn't quite get the opportunity though. Watson fending him off. So close race. Server up in 7 minutes. RPM links in the chat. Good evening all. RPM links saying sexy, that's way better. Excellent. 9k from the UK. Couldn't get past that chunky Beamer. He's saying in the McLaren. Definitely looking to take place as well. You'll be starting this one in front of the Beamer, so can you fend off the chunky Beamer? Race 1 was hell of a show. Good fights. You've misspelt the word great. You've spelt it G-O-O-D. It's G-R-E-A-T. I think you were looking for there, to be honest. If we're in for another, I absolutely, I quickly touched on this in the race, and then we quickly ran away from it because of all the racing that was still going on, obviously. But your thoughts on this track overall? I know you're a monster F1 fan as well, Joe. They've made changes to this. You've raced it on GT3s. I'd imagine you've done a bit of it on the old iRacing as well in other cars. Oh, look at Paul Sidlowski. There we go. So that's what we didn't look at on the replay. That was him going full rodeo there. That was a wild stallion he was taming. Goodness me.
It was bucking. I did use a B, not another letter there.
Yeah, that was a Bronco. We'll stick with Bronco. Just in case.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the track itself is like I say, it is one of those tracks that you've got to have confidence. When we did the coaching, we didn't stream it this week, but when we did the coaching earlier in the week, the key was, you've got to have a good balanced car here. You need a car that is front end, it does what you want it to do. But with the temperatures, you need to sort of back that off a little bit, because I know that even in 25 minutes, you can potentially get graining. And you don't really want that, halfway through a race for whatever reason, because it'll just end up slowing you down for the rest of it. But the changes they made to the Formula 1 track, obviously, unfortunately, we don't have them in ACC at the moment. But if they, I'd love to see them in here, because going through the banked 2 corners that they've got here could just be incredible. And it is a great track. It is a bit more difficult to overtake here in GTs. You have to. There's mainly 2 places you can overtake. And only one that you can do it properly safe, and that's the turn 1, where most of the action does happen. You can do it through the fast section after the first banked left-hander. I think it's turn 4. You at the end of that, you've got you crest the hill and then you drop down and turn right. You can make a move there if you've got a good run, but it really does take you having a good run and confidence in your car, and that the other driver's not just going to suddenly turn in on you to make it through there. And it is a bit of a trust thing. It's not necessarily full skill. You've got to have the other driver working with you there as well, otherwise it's just going to end in tears.
Yeah, you've got to have a good dance partner. I do say that a lot. It definitely does take 2 drivers to make a successful overtake. And especially a track like this, a lot of embankment, a lot of times throwing that car over the curves. 9 and 10 I was talking about, they are good fun corners, but from the sound of it, you do like I'm not 100% sold on the embankment in GT3 cars. I think I don't know whether I'm just too much of an open wheel fan. I just prefer the rugged, sheer fear that you get.
The thing is with the banking
configuration.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the banking, we saw in the Formula 1 that there's a couple of lines to take there. So you can go like deep and sort of V off the corner and get a good exit, or you can run right around the top and drop down at the end and try and get a good exit that way. And the wily old Fernando Alonso saw people, I think it was George Russell actually, going up to the top and trying to take his normal run, and he dropped down in the first, I think it was lap 2, and he dropped down underneath him and just took the position. And because he comes back up in front of him, he has to back out. So then George doesn't get the run off the corner. So it cements the position for Fernando at that point. So that's where it can create something. And because this track is so tight and so twisty, you know, that qualifying that we saw, which is extremely close in all three classes, you've got to make sure that, you know, there's a way of overtaking here. And at the moment, this current layout in ACC, for me, doesn't promote enough overtaking. I think if they had the bank corner in turn 4, the left-hander, it makes it a couple more lines to use then, and that gives you another overtaking place. And then the final corner, bank corner, gives you know, people a good run, especially in GTs where although the downforce is important, it's not as important as in Formula One. That means that they can basically just get on, you know, get on the power and just follow the car in front of them and get a good run off the corner in the draft and potentially make a move into turn 1. It makes it a little bit easier. So that's my thoughts behind it anyway.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, if it's going to bring on more battling and more side-by-sides and more overtaking opportunities, then yeah, definitely all for that one as well. I'm going to very quickly throw myself into the server. We saw the highlights there. Well, I say we saw the highlights. There's no way you're telling me that the highlights from that managed to squeeze into a 5-minute package. That was a whole lot of action. And yeah, we are 100% going to see a whole lot more with this reverse order grid. Luke Southall, Pro Championship leader, of course, finishing in 4th position. He's going to finish. He's going to start this one, of course, ahead of most of those protagonists, and he's going to need to bring himself home a good race result. His teammate, of course, Peter Brett, for the first time this season, outside of the top 3 overall, but that's 2nd place there and ahead of Revzig, and certainly a couple of places ahead of Watts, is going to again make that one an absolutely phenomenal dynamic going into the final couple of races of the season. And sorry, going into this race as well, because I'm looking at the calendar while I'm talking. It's amazing how easily distracted one can get when you're juggling through multiple things. But yeah, it's been an interesting dynamic, Linksay. The SOP3, as I've been calling them, have been perched at the top of the tables in opening exchanges, but Watts and Revzig, they are bringing the fight back, unsurprisingly, given the pace. I mean, you can really just pick any driver from the pros, and we can talk about the endless amounts of pace and race talent that they've got, but we'll focus on the battle between SOP and RTO at the minute, because it is very much the way it is running at the minute. The two teams occupying the top 5 spots. Jordan Watson knocking on the door. Brett out with the top 3 for the first time this season. Watts and Revzig looking very, very, very quick and bringing the fight back in the closing stages.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Jordan Watson, I generally feel sorry for. He's had a very difficult start to the season through no fault of his own in a few cases as well. And over the last couple of weeks, he's showed his pace. You know, a couple of wins back to back actually now, and I'm sure that he'll be there or thereabouts towards the end of the season, knocking on that top 5, if not even the top 3, because he's only 24 points behind Dan, and in fact 28 points behind Liam Page in P2. It's obviously Luke that's running away with it. With last race 1's results here still to go on, so you know he's already moved, I believe, up ahead of Peter Brett. So you know with that swing, or maybe even on the same points as Peter Brett now. So it's very very close to being back up into that top 2, top 3 slot. So don't count Jordan out at all. But yeah, it's, Luke Seifel doing the job, absolutely walking away with SOP. I know the guy very well. He's a very quick driver. He's consistent. He doesn't get into fights where he doesn't need to, although we have seen him make a few interesting moves this season on his own teammate as well, which was last week. So I'm sure he'll be looking to maximize the points starting in P4. I think it is in this race to try and build on that gap from Liam. Liam not being obviously able to race this week, so this is his 2 drop rounds. And yeah, and then obviously you got the Dan Watson, Sigurd Resvik, who have struggled this season in the BMW. Some of the tracks doesn't suit the BMW this season, so but they're trying to make the most of it from what they can do and try and get themselves back to the front, or at least try and fight for that top 2 slots as well, just to make it not a 1-2 from SOP, of course.
Indeed, yeah, trying to fend. Oh, and again, the way the seasons have been running, the RTO2 took the SOP championship, and it looks like it might be the other way around. It's certainly trending that way for the SOP2 or 3 to take the RTO, but plenty of racing left in the RTO Season 6, Round 6, of course, sponsored by Luke Addison Racing. A little progress each day adds up to big results, so if you are looking for coaching or setups, get yourself over to lukeaddison-racing.com. I really am struggling with a few of my verbs this evening, but there we go. And the consonants and everything else in the way. I've only been speaking English for 45 years now, so I am very much still a beginner in the art, it would appear. No beginners in the art of driving, race IQ or overtaking on the track at the minute. 27 extremely accomplished drivers. Daniel Zlatnik starting right at the back of the grid with his teammate Hovenzan Lawrence, and it's James Whittaker leading the way off the line, and it's foot down flat out, and it's a drive-through for Southall, which will be removed by the race stewards, I'm sure, and then it'll get looked at then. Oh, and there's a bit of contact into turn number 1, and it's bunched up the field, and that's Peter Brett. This ended up with a wavered line on the exit, and that's going to bring Jordan Watson and Paul Sidlowski right into the hunt. Oh, and Peter Brett and Sidlowski, Brett and Watson make a little bit of contact, and Peter Brett now falls way down, and it's Richard Gasson that's got himself ahead, pending controls, pending penalty, of course, removed there. Richard Gasson now finds himself ahead, so the timing boards are about to go absolutely wild. We'll let them run through. It's still James Whittaker leading the way, Dixon Chen in second, Southall championship leader in third, Dan Watson fourth ahead of his teammate Sigurd Resvik. Jordan Watson in sixth position as Peter Brett is down in 17th overall. He is sandwiched between, and that's a big move up the inside in the Lambo. Nick Cooper taking a little bit of contact there. Peter Brett getting it done on the brakes, looking to go round the outside through turn 10. That's a brave one. Through turn 9 on the opening laps there. Full commitment on the tyres. James Whittaker, Dixon Chen and Southall still leading the way. Let's get to the silvers, where it's Sidlowski and Quinn who's got himself ahead of Tom Solis. Sidlowski starting this one on the front row, of course. Solis now separated from him by Cormac Quinn in the Mercedes. Thomas Lovrig, who had a phenomenal race one in the Porsche, once again finds Sharinga just behind them. Schneemann, McCord and Holzer all chasing the silvers. Peter Brett now finds himself ahead of Nick Cooper and Richard Gasson, who is at the moment at the back of the silvers. Expect that to change fairly shortly. It's Colin Heslett, David Blythe and Brian Bond, the top 3. Bond with an unfortunate contact as well in race 1. Can he make amends for that in race number 2? He's got Winter, Hovenzan Lawrence and Jack Duffy ahead of them. Daniel Zlatnik has already made up 3 places, and he's ahead of Nige Woodcat. And in fact, let's have a look back over the last minute and see exactly what he was getting involved in. And it is another, he's got his Dragon Ball Z livery there, that's why that caught me out ever so slightly. But that is, I believe, is that Nige Woodcat, who's in another Team Snail Aston livery as well. And that's through, that's very good through Hans Ernst, much like the move that we saw, only almost got the double move on the Aston Martin as well there. But coming in the last corner, Daniel Zlatnik doing championship leader things. Oh no, it's the Aston he's buffing. Sorry, Lynx.
Yeah, the big scrap at the front. You've got Luke trying to get past James Whittaker. Andre Dixon Chen's taking the lead. And now Luke's gone deep. So that's going to let, looks like maybe 1, maybe 2 of the RTO drivers now going to move back up into the first 3 positions. Oh, and Dan and Refs get really close together as they come into the final couple of corners. Yeah, Luke Southall manages to hold on to that P3.
And we are stuck in a replay, so let's jump back and watch that happen. In fact, so here we go. So at this point, Whittaker is in the lead, so that's just where the replay ended. So into the final corner, we're going to get to watch this whole battle unfold. thankfully. So Whittaker just running a bit deep, as you say, put 2 wheels on the grass. And there was almost contact between the 2 BMWs, as you said, through turn number 9. Jordan Watson finding himself the gift of Sigurd Revsig on the inside line up at the front. Whittaker coming under pressure from championship leader Southall. Dixon Chen shows them all a clean pair of heels out of turn number 10, over the crest of the hill and into Hans Ernst as the Porsche goes big send up the inside. He ends up with 4 wheels on the kitty litter, manages to hold on to position. That's quite the concertina effect that causes. We can see them all out of Hans Ernst in the final corner and sneaking up the inside. Sigurd Revsig and Jordan Watts in the last corner makes up another position as well. Dixon Chen now running away with it. Whittaker, Southall and Revsig. Jordan Watson up to 5th position. Dan Watson 6th, and Paul Stadlowski all over the back of him. Cormac Quinn not dropping too much time either. Sharinga all over the back of Lovrek. Still Lovrek, as we can see there, going full defensive mode. They've got Peter Brett trying to catch up with the pros ahead. Richard Gasson has got up to the back of this battling pack of Silvers, who are battling for 6th position. Has been the most hotly contested position in the entire race. Schneemann is the one leading the way at the minute, with Brett just ahead of him. McCord, Holzer, Cooper and Gasson all in this battle. Gasson could be propelled up the positions if he gets this perfectly positioned on the exit to the last corner in the next lap or two. Hovensat Lawrence for Team Snell. He was on the podium in race 1. He's up the inside and he's looking for 2nd already in race number 2, and his teammate and championship leader Daniel Zlatnik in the Dragon Ball Z livery looks like he's got the David Blythe's number as well. I'm not going to jump back on the replay of that because we missed loads going on, and yeah, not too much of a battle put by Blythe. Runs deep into turn 5, and that already, Joe, is 2 Team Snail drivers onto the podium, although Nine Woodcock is a bit further down. But yeah, Zlatnik and Hovensat Lawrence, phenomenal start to race number 2 for these two especially.
Yeah, I believe there was a few things going on in the AMS, and they've managed to just pick their way through nicely, which is what we spoke about before race 2 started, and just keep out of trouble, move your way back to the front, and then just go and collect those big haul of points that you get for winning your class. Peter Brett's had a bit of an interesting start down into P12. He's now moved back up to P11, so he'll be trying to move his way through the silvers and try and catch up to the back of the pros before the end of the race. Good thing for him, once he gets past Lovric, pretty much everyone above him is within a second of each other, so he's still got a lot of work to do, but he can definitely do it.
Yeah, he definitely can. Jordan Watson, we mentioned great race win number 1, and we both mentioned him in the intermission, and we're going to be talking about him a lot as the lead, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th get into turn number 1, separated by an almighty 1.1 seconds. Who'd have thunk it? And there we go, all the commitment from Jordan in the Pulse Sim Sport. He drives for Pulse Sim Sport, it's no surprise he's quick and can race. Dixon Chen wasn't here last week, couldn't get past the Chonky Beamer in race number 1. He got past everybody in race number 2. He set the fastest lap in the opening 4, and he's got a 2.8 second gap as Whittaker fends off championship leader Southall. So Southall again finds himself chasing down an RTO car. He's gone up the inside of turn number 9. That is a good looking move there by Southall. He's going to be in the outside of 10. Is he going to go for the cutback? No option for the cutback, so he's going to have to hang the post right round the outside. Bit of contact on the middle phase of the corner, but on the exit it is the longer nose of the Mercedes that comes out in front. And not only that, Sigurd Revsig doing some good running as the Porsche opened himself up to potential overtake. Revsig's run deep, avoiding contact there. Couldn't quite get it done on the brakes. He's going to lose at least 2 positions and that's 3 positions. Here comes Sidlowski, could pile on the pressure. I don't think Sidlowski, he wasn't quite close enough. He certainly wasn't going to go for any lunging move there, but Sigurd Revsig just on the way into Hans Ernst. As we were watching the battle up ahead, I think he was watching the battle a bit too wholeheartedly. The wing mirrors, rear view mirror doesn't want the replay. Oh, just part of his tyres on the gravel there as he hit the brakes, and that is 4 positions. Jordan Watson up to 4th, all over the back of championship leader Luke Southall, who's still got James Whittaker firmly within his sights. Andre Dixon Chen absolutely checking out at the front. 4.2 seconds is the gap he's got now. Jordan Watson, he definitely smells blood in the water. Paul Sidlowski all over the back of his teammate Revzig. He's not losing time to Cormac Quinn, who's still got Tom Solis firmly keeping an eye on him. Peter Brett has made it past the battle for 4th place it is now in the silvers. He's up to 10th overall. Lovrig has got a bit of a gap back to Sharinga, who has got no gap from fellow Lamborghini driving Christoph Holzer. Holzer bringing home a podium in race number 1 and looking to do so in race number 2. If you can get past Lovrig, it's Tom Solis and Cormac Quinn he needs to catch up to. Another beautiful sight for the RTO publicity team, as we can see those stunning I am a big fan of those, the RTO team liveries, I have to be honest. There's a chase from down into Hans Ernst once again, and it is Holzer and McCord and Schneepman, the RTO2 that are chasing, and there is Nick Cooper in the back, another podium driver from race number 1, all chasing Jurt Sharinga in the Lambo. Lovering out. Cormac Quinn is now behind Revzig. What? So something's happened to Revzig. Oh, and there it is into turn number 9. We've just caught the tail end of that there, but Revzig, no control whatsoever at the back of the car. He's now behind Peter Brett. And Cormac Quinn slowed up as well. Okay, so we've missed out on the replay. I can only apologise, but Revzig has tumbled down the order. He's now back ahead as Solis and Quinn. It's almost as if Quinn pulled up there to give the position back, so I'm not sure. Although how Cormac Quinn could have been close enough to Revzig, no idea. Wow, so it is now a battle between James Whittaker. Where's Jordan Watson? Jordan Watson is now behind Dan Watts. Dan Watts in the BMW, making moves up the inside into turn 1, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I think there's been a bit of contact. The stewards will have a look at that afterwards, but whoever started that, absolutely no idea, but it's put Zagur Revzig down into 7th, and behind Sidlowski. Peter Brett is now in 6th. Jordan Watson's in 5th. Dan Watts is in 4th. James Whittaker is in 3rd place, with Luke Southall, championship leader, in 2nd, and Andre Dixon Chen in the McLaren in a league of his own, quite frankly, at the minute. 5 seconds of a gap as we fast approach the halfway mark of the race. That's been 12 minutes. That's incredible how much action we've snuck in, and we've only got, as we can see, a couple of tenths separating 3 drivers vying for the final podium position. James Whittaker is the holder of it at the minute, and he's got his teammate Watson, Jordan Watson, applying some serious pressure there. Revzig is now back ahead of Sadlowski, and he's going to be chasing down Peter Brett in 6th place. Tom Solis in 2nd place, ahead of Cormac Quinn after that incident. So Solis and Sidlowski back to the top 2 spots, and as we can see, Lovrig is once again being caught up by Sharinga. That's not spoiler cam, that's spoiler cam. I can barely contain my excitement on the buttons here. Sharinga, Holzer, Schneepman are all within half a second into turn number 9, and he's almost left a Lamborghini impression on the back of the bad pick Porsche here. He manages to keep it out of the back though. That is control on the brakes through 9 and 10. Sharinga, Holzer and Schneepman still chasing 4th place. Can they get past Lovric? Can Lovric catch up to Quinn now that Quinn's dropped a bit of time to Solis after that? If he's carrying any damage, it is definitely possible. Linksy, this is some absolutely phenomenal racing again. We're seeing through the pack. I might need you to say a couple of sentences just so I can quickly catch my breath, please.
No problem. Yeah, so what happened to refs? He coming into the slow right-hander, he just got on the grass slightly with his rear right wheel and on the brakes, and then around she went. So it was a self-made mistake, so I'm sure refs will be kicking himself for that one. But yeah, he's catching up with Peter Brett, so he's actually managing to hold back onto the Pro Pack. There's still 12 minutes left. Anything can happen. You can see how close everyone is. There's still more and more fighting to go. Luke's obviously managed to gap James, but he's not really making much impression on Andre. So looks like Dixon Chen's got a really good chance of taking a win here. Hopefully, I'm not going to do a commentator's curse for that one. Paul Sadlowski, obviously up into P1 in the silvers, keeping that one. But Tom Solis, like we said, is followed him along. He's only just over a second behind him. Yeah, we're looking to see where Richard Gasson is, but he's obviously dropped right down. So something's happened to Richard Gasson as well. He's down into 23rd. So something's not gone well for Richard. But like you say, Colin Heselton, Zlatnik, and Wesley are in the top 3 for the AMS. Are we going to see the two Snell Esports drivers go back to the top, or can Colin Heselton hold them off for the win in the AMS in race number 2?
It's all to be decided in 10 minutes. We will see. Again, it's a juxtaposition for me. These races will be the end of me, but I really would like to see them go just a little bit longer, because the action the drivers are putting on is phenomenal. The control in the packs is incredible. We've got Rhys Hather in the chat. Ben Nergard, go RTO. Hello my lovely, says Rhys. Good evening, welcome in. Hope you're enjoying. Haven't mentioned, of course, please do it. Free subscribe on YouTube. Hit that bell to make sure you find that know exactly when the channel goes live, and go back and watch the back catalogue of races from this series especially. The racing has been like this all the way through, and we even saw rain at Laguna Seca eventually. You might want to skip the first hour of that broadcast. But the racing is definitely... Yeah, we don't talk about... Oh, and that is Sharinga and Lovreg after a phenomenal race 1. Tomasz Lovreg finds himself ejected from 4th position. Surely the Lamborghini doesn't send it from here. No, he doesn't into turn 1. No, that would have been, wrong brakes in an endurance race type scenario there if that would have come together. It was certainly not an endurance race. So in through 3. Oh, and the Porsche just loses the back. The Lambo's carrying a bit much momentum. There's a concertina effect. He takes a shunt in the spoiler, and the two of them are then sat there helplessly waiting, holding their brakes to let everyone go past. So that's shaking things up once again in the silvers. It's Cormac Quinn still on the podium, but Christoph Holzer and Marcel Schneepman have now been released. Or have they been released to chase because they've got Ryan McCord very much still in the hunt for this one as well. The two RTO drivers still applying the pressure. Speaking of applying the pressure, Sigurd Revsik, what a comeback charge he is on. And not only that as well, Peter Brett, talking about a comeback charge, he's got himself back up to 5th. We saw him in 2nd place in race 1 with some supreme pace, and I am going to be brave and go for a whole minute replay, and he's already very much got that move done, so he is on a flyer. Sigurd Revsik as well, really is very quickly making his way back through the pack and catching up. It's Dan Watts that he's caught up to, and he's no slouch. So the teammates, they're going to be doing battle as Peter Brett is getting involved with an RTO driver, and in fact that was Watson getting his nose past, and there is side by side on the exit, the Mercedes and the Lambo, just enough room left by both. They're going to come in the final corner with Jordan Watson back on the podium. Whittaker is actually now down to 5th position, so we'll jump back to a replay as soon as this replay is finished, because we don't, I'm pretty sure we don't even need to see the replay. I think we know how this one ends. Into turn number 1, the Lamborghini gets it done on the brakes because he can carry more momentum around the banking. Gets the foot down, and on the exit, the Mercedes fighting back absolutely phenomenally, but by this point the overtake's already done. Let's jump back and have a look and see where Brett got it done. So it was all the way through to turn number 4, and the Mercedes still in the front. A little bit of door banging on the way through, not quite enough room there, not enough room in the background either. That is Revsik and Watts all over the back of this one as well. Oh, and that is an interesting place to go side by side. Do love to see the bravery of an overtake there. Oh no, don't you dare update. Oh no, my graphics card just wants to do an update. Please don't do that. That was James Whittaker running off track. Sorry, that notification's popped up. That was panic moment there. That was Revsik Watching Brett make his way up to 4th. James Whittaker putting 4 wheels on the grass at an extremely unfortuitous time. Not that there's any fortuitous times to do it at Zandvoort, but certainly through Rob Schlottermacher. That's why I don't say that name, much like the last name, I just can't get it right. And Whittaker, unfortunately, wasn't able to get it right there either. That sees him down into 7th position. Dixon Chen does find the gap that he holds over Luke Southall, reducing ever so slightly. It's down to 3.3 seconds. Jordan Watson, back-to-back podiums on the horizon. And on the horizon for Peter Brett, looks like it's going to be another finish with Watson's spoiler just ahead of him. He has got Watts and Revzig. Jordan Watson's just tumbled down the order. Jordan Watson's now down to 6th position. So let's see what happens here. So at this point he is ahead of Peter Brett. So he's coming into... he's completely on his own through Rob Schlottermacher. Oh, the Lambo does not like that corner. That is way too much momentum to lose. As you can see, the closing distance of the Lamborghini of Brett. So what I thought was on the horizon... oh, and he's just run wide there. He's put it on the grass to stay out of the way. He's touched the curb. And that is... oh, and he's in the pits now, Joe. That is a monster upset to the series. Jordan Watson was having back-to-back phenomenal races. And he now finds himself into the pits, so I think there might have been another issue that he's had as well potentially, but yeah, that's a couple that's Revzig and Watson, both unforced driver errors, see them tumbling down the order. Watson arguably coming off worse as Revzig is now promoted back up to 5th position. And Joe will be right back. I didn't quite read that. I've got so many screens open, but Joe will be back with us very shortly. Well, leave me hanging, bro. Definitely going for that 400% pay rise, that is for sure. Battle for 3rd place certainly unfolding. Watts and Revzig, they are holding on to that 4th place at the minute. Whittaker right in the middle of the battle for the silvers. Paul Sidlowski just battling with himself at the minute. He's got 2.9 over Solis. He's got 2.2 over Quinn. Another 2.9 back is Holzer. He's now being chased by a trio, in fact. Yes, it is a trio of RTO drivers. He's being chased by the 2 Mercedes of Schneepman and Whittaker. Ryan McCord in the BMW. Velocity driver Nick Cooper. Doesn't look like a podium is quite on the cards in this one, but certainly still bringing home some good points as the RTO drivers go side by side. That looked like that was a bit of a run deep there by McCord into turn number 1, not quite fully in control there. Daniel Zlatnik and Wesley Hovins and Lawrence now battling out for the final 2 podium positions in the rear spoiler of Colin Heselton. He is still leading the way. Apologies to the AMs, they've barely had a mention so far with everything that's been going on up at the top of the field, but Heselton is still leading the way comfortably. That is 13 solid laps that he's put in so far, and the team snail drivers of Hovins and Lawrence and Zlatnik, 1st and 2nd respectively in race number 1, are 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Zlatnik team leader, or certainly championship leader, sorry, and Wesley Hovins and Lawrence the newest addition. I do know that. I'm not 100% sure that Zlatnik is the team leader in any way, but yeah, I'm certainly, it'll be a bittersweet for him to finish behind Hovins and Lawrence, but nice to see the newest addition to the team getting the car ahead of him after a solid race. Although Hovins and Lawrence needs to be careful in the closing stages. I'm sure Zlatnik will be ready to pounce should the opportunity, if he feels he's getting slowed up too much and can make some inroads into Heselton's lead. He'll jump past that gap down to a second. In fact, they both could find themselves catching up. Southall still in 2nd, Brett in 3rd. He's got 1.5 back to Watts and Revzig a 2nd apart. Sidlowski, Solis and Quinn still leading the way in the silvers. Heselton, Hoven, Zant, Lawrence and Zlatnik. Here's Zlatnik again. Let's have a look into turn number 1. Does the Dragon Ball Z car get it done? Opens it up. He's going to have a look up the inside, surely. And that is a very good exit he's got. He's surely got no choice but to either make a move or back right out of it, and he does back right out of it on that occasion. I would say he's a bit quicker than his teammate at the minute. And that's a bit of a wiggle on the way up to turn 4, potentially costing himself a bit of time, but second and third, it will certainly help his teammate more than he, because Zlatnik's got a good lead in those arms, and it'll certainly do Hovens and Lawrence the world of good for Team Snail. If he can bring home second place, that'll be some good points in his charge for championship glory. We've got a minute left, and Dixon Chen, still holder of the fastest lap of the race. He is on the final lap. He's had barely any camera time at all. He was one of the drivers we focused on at the intermission, and since then he's had very little focus at all. He has been off and running. 3 seconds ahead of Luke Southall, who is still 8 seconds ahead of his teammate Peter Brett Watts, leading home the RTO 2 with Revzig in 5th. Then silvers, Sidlowski, Solis and Quinn still looking good for their podium positions. The podium in the AMS though could come down right down to the last lap as the two BMWs close in on one another. Daniel Zlatnik will certainly be hurrying the pace along if he can. His teammate is now getting, well, he's well within striking distance. He's within half a second across the start finish line and into turn number 1. He's got a good inside line there. Heselton using the full width of the track, but that might cost him a bit of time. And Hovens and Lawrence, he's within half a second. That will be very tempting to go for the race win. Andre Dixon Chen is he's heading towards the final chicane at breakneck speed. That's Hans Ernst out of the way, heading into Kuma and into the final non-embanked corner. Dixon Chen for Velocity Esports bringing home a very, very, very good race win. Southall in second. Sidlowski 1.4 seconds up. We should really see Dixon Chen cross the line. And there he does, fastest lap and the checkered flag for the Velocity Esports driver. Championship leader Luke Southall in second. Peter Brett is going to bring home third place. Sidlowski is going to win in the silvers, and in the arms it is a tenth and a half separating the podium drivers, so we're going to miss everyone else crossing the line and watch this battle right down to the death, because Colin Heselton, as we can see, there is half a second separating them now on the way out of Hans Ernst and into the final corner. Does Zlatnik fancy his chances of improving on the podium? It looks like Heselton's done enough. This will be a very good win for Colin Heselton. He's led since he's taken the lead. He's remained out in front, and he is going to bring home the win in the arms. Sidlowski, Solis and Quinn taking the podium positions in the silvers, and there's Colin Heselton bringing home a win in the arms, and it is Hovens and Lawrence once again taking out the brake marker in turn 1. Hovens and Lawrence in second. Sorry, Zlatnik taking out the turn marker. It's Lovrek did get back up to 4th position then. Sharinga, no, not back up to 4th position, sorry, they're in the silvers, so they're much further down. It's Toby Lowen that finished in 4th, and Nigel Woodcut bringing home the Team Snail car. All 3 cars in the top 5 in both races, so phenomenal driving there. But Andre Dixon Chen bringing home that race win after starting in 2nd place. Incredible drive from the Velocity driver, and brings home the fastest lap as well. There's confirmation of the ARM podium. It is Heselton, Lovenzant, Lawrence and Zlatnik. 2 Team Snail cars on the podium in race 2 again. Lowen in 4th, and Woodcut making it 3 for Team Snail. In the top 5, Duffy, Blythe and Dogmeat finishing the race. Bond and Winter crashing out early in the race. Sidlowski gets himself a race win with Tom Solis making up for men. They started race 1 and race 2 in this order. Definitely didn't finish their race 1. to get it done in race 2 though. Quinn in 3rd place. Holzer, Schneitman and Cooper involved in some phenomenal battles, finishing 4th, 5th and 6th, with McCord in 7th, and Lovrig finishing in 8th. Schilling in 9th, and Gasson in 10th. And in the pros, phenomenal drive once again by Andre Dixon-Chen, one of our drivers in focus this week. And yeah, didn't get much focus on him in that second race. 2.5 seconds ahead, the championship leader Luke Southall, the velocity driver, finished Southall, making it 2 SOP drivers on the podium. Brett out the top 3 in the first time for his championship before the race, finishes 3rd here. Where will he be going into the next round at Suzuka? Dan Watts and Sigurd Revsig securing 4th and 5th. Whittaker finishing in 6th position, and Watson unable to finish the race after a phenomenal start to the proceedings. And what a proceedings they have been. It is round number 6 of the Luke Addison sponsored RTO season 6. A little progress each day adds up to big results. So get yourself over to Luke's website. As you can see, coaching and setups all available, and I personally highly recommend them, although don't let the times I set be any reflection on the standard of setups. They are very good, it's just I'm very bad. And you can hear Joe giggling away in my ear. He's just he's joined us once again. Pretty sure he's been here and just let me do my thing there. Joe, I'm running out. I'm going to really have to spend a lot of time reading a thesaurus to think of superlatives to describe the level of driving that we are seeing in these races. Again, absolute standing ovation to the drivers involved. That was incredible.
Oh, 100%. So congratulations to all the winners. Andre Dixon-Chen doing an absolutely amazing job out in front once he got there in front of James Whittaker, and just built that lead of just over 4.5 seconds. And by the time Luke managed to get through, it was just too late in the race for him to do anything. And not only that, you can prove that it wasn't just luck or anything like this. He did the fastest lap of the race as well. So yeah, that's what matters, and it just proves that he has some great pace. He was just saying in the chat on the channel here that it wasn't a track that he normally would think he was going to get a win at. He doesn't tend to like it, and sometimes that's the ones that you end up winning because you just end up able to be a lot more relaxed than you usually would be able to. So yeah, really good work, and yeah, so congrats to all the drivers tonight. It's a shame for Jordan not finishing that race, because that's going to put him down on points, because you've got to finish if you want points at the end of the races this season. So yeah, that's what we need to. I'm sure he'll be kicking himself for that. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. Was it fuel or something? I'm not too sure. But yeah, really good races tonight. And also clean, very clean, which is something that we really want to keep pressing, in RTO. It's something that, we want to have a driving standard here. We're still learning ourselves into making sure that we get the penalties consistent. There is, we're doing everything we can. We listen to the drivers. We try and make sure that they have a say. So something we do in before, which you guys don't get to see. We have a driver briefing every single race 10 minutes before the server opens. First 5 minutes is me explaining what is expected, and then the drivers have their say as well to make sure that everyone is involved in what we're trying to do here. So yeah, it's something that we really believe in to bring a community of drivers and racing together, that we can all race hard, fair, and bring you guys, the most importantly, some exciting things to watch. They have to have their say in what they believe is right and what's wrong. So yeah, that's something we really believe in here at RTO.
Yeah, I can't back the RTO community enough. I've been fortunate enough to. Linksy was actually one of the first streamers to raid me when I used to sit behind the wheel and pretend, much like my footballing career, that I could somehow get involved and never hide behind a microphone. But yeah, the community is built absolutely phenomenal. You'll find Discord links in the chat. Make sure you get involved, not just to watch the racing, but like I say, to get involved. And get on Linksy's Twitch channel as well. He does open teaching sessions, and I mean they are proper teaching sessions. He will teach you a track, the rights, the wrongs, the whys, all that type of stuff. They've got the academy as well, and you can see from the racing that we're getting here week after week, these 25-minute races just, they're absolutely incredible. I can't wait for next season, never mind next week. Next week we do have Suzuka. Again, one of the most difficult turn ones in the whole of motorsport. It promises to be absolutely incredible. The chat has been alive as well this evening. My apologies, there's been so much action. I've been very remiss in saying hi to everyone in the chat. I'm sure you'll all understand, but yeah, absolutely incredible battles and things. Congrats, huge congrats to Team Sayaka. Fully feel your pain there, 9K, at my age. I know what you're going through. So great driving. And yeah, massive thank you to Luke Addison for sponsoring the series. It is phenomenal as a broadcaster to be able to have a series sponsored by a product you so wholeheartedly believe in and actually use yourself. I do use the 296, so love Luke Addison's setups. What have we got coming up in the RTO community and on Lynx's streams in the near future, Mr. Boyle?
Yeah, so I've just sent you something in Discord. I don't know if you've seen it or if you're able to pop it up on screen, but we've got an exciting event that is about to be open for you all to get involved in moving into November, and basically that is the first ever RTO 24-hour, but it gets even better because we have our friends and mentors over at SOP joining us, so it's a joint venture between both communities to bring you a 24-hour race. I know, who's that SOP lot, right? Who are they? Yeah. But yeah, so Simon is putting all of his knowledge and teaching me the ways of creating an event that I've never created and helped him do before. So it'll be interesting to see how we get on with that. But there's, we want to bring you guys not just sprint races. We want to bring you enduros. We want to bring you guys, longer races as well. There's lots and lots to come from RTO. So yeah, we're going to be releasing that over the next 24 hours. So look out on Friday in the Discord. I've just popped the link in as well for Discord. If anyone wants to join us, please make sure you do so. The idea, it will be a 24-hour Nürburgring. It will be a joint class of GT3s and GT4s, and there'll be a pro and silver split in each. So it doesn't mean to say you're just all in pros or you're just, you've got your own splits to go and win. And multi-class, which I think is interesting, especially around somewhere like Nürburgring where it's quite tight and twisty. It's going to create some really interesting racing around there. And 24 hours isn't like this. This sprint series that we've got here, you tend to race extremely hard. As you've seen in some of the replays here, there's banging doors and all things like that. In a 24-hour race, you cannot afford that. Any damage like that just puts you further and further behind. And within a couple of hours, you're all of a sudden 2 laps down, and it becomes a lot more difficult to try and get that back. So, yeah, it's a completely different kettle of fish to what you're seeing now. But the enduro side, I've been fortunate enough to be part of one in a couple of months ago at Silverstone with RTO, and it was the most amazing experience I've had in sim racing. And I really, really suggest you get involved. It's open to everybody who wants to get involved with it. I suggest that you obviously, we'll put a practice server up for everyone to get involved with. So there's, a few different types of weather and things like that, so everyone can practice over a few different conditions to make sure they've got the best opportunity to race in the league. Sorry, in the race, as you can see on the screen. And we're also going to be doing a custom BOP as well. So basically the idea of that is that, if we get too many McLarens, if we get like a whole field of McLarens, for example, or a field of Ferraris, then there will be a BOP to bring them down, so the other cars will be able to race with them. So it's something that we're trying to do to make sure all the cars have got a good chance of winning. So you're not just going to see 2 or 3 brands on the track. It means that you're going to see a whole host of cars, and the RTO and SOP cars, as you can see there, will be running a joint livery which has been created and designed by Sigurd Refsvik, who does all the RTO liveries, and he's created another absolutely beautiful masterpiece there. It's so difficult to get the colours that we both use, which is pink and blue, as you can see, and get them running on the car in the correct way, and I think he's absolutely mastered that and made it look absolutely incredible. So thank you very, very much, Refs. And Simon, I know you've done a lot of work behind the scenes, and I've got a lot of catching up to do. So once again, Simon, thanks for putting this up and doing the banner that you see on the screen. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys join us. We'll get that open for everyone tomorrow in the evening, and we'll start getting the team signed up.
Excellent. Sorry, I just had to quickly show another Sigurd Refsvik masterpiece on screen there as well. Of course, the Eagle Eye Joe Boyle. And if anyone wants to know just how good the judgment of SOP Motorsports Simon is, he's the one that brought me into the commentary fold. It's his fault.
Absolutely.
I do this. So you all can blame him. Letters of complaints to SOP Esports. Good evening, Simon. But yeah, 24 hours in Nürburgring. That is going to be a phenomenal race. 44 cars, 24 GT3s, 20 GT4s, and the custom bot November 4th and 5th. So make sure you get your calendars set for that one. We've popped back the highlights.
We expect to see you for 24 hours though, John. No breaks.
Well, I tell you what, I've definitely accepted less crazy challenges, so you never know. I might actually race a couple of stints as well.
I think you should. I think we need to get you involved. Definitely. Yeah, especially if you look like me there. In the car there. If you look like that, then we'll get you in. Yeah, there you go, Simon.
Yeah. I really shouldn't have put that on short repeat, but yeah, no, I could probably be tempted. There is another 24-hour race as well for charity in December that I've been asked to commentate some and drive for that as well. So and that's at the Nürburgring too. So I've got no excuses. So yeah, I could I think the
just
team
makes
get
perfect.
involved. It really does. I need to be in a GT3 though. I can't do force. I don't have the talent. But enough of my lack of talent.
I'm sure we can find a place for you in the RTO team, my friend.
Oh, no, that would be way too much pressure. Way too much pressure.
We expect you to win then, though.
I would whitey. Quite frankly, I would lose far too much weight and sweat. So yeah, let's not do that. I'll get my own little team expectations, make it through my stint, and that'll do me nicely. But you never know, I might do a guest stint. We'll see. But yeah, that made me nervous on the spot, so behind the wheel it would be terrible. But enough of my waffling. Team mascot, says Nicholas. Yes! Although finding a decal big enough to get my 6'3" frame on it might not be the easiest. That would be
I'm sure we can figure something out.
It's the wrong type of livery right there.
I think we'll definitely get the liveries once they're all completed for all the cars that are going to take part with the RTO and SOP split. We'll get the Raven mascot on there definitely, without question. So yes. Absolutely.
And yes, I think very soon there will be a Ravencom's Twitter page. It has been coming. I'm terrible at databases. I'm terrible at spreadsheets. I'm terrible at designing a website. But the Ravencom's Twitter page, where you can engage broadcasting services from myself or the team that I am assembling. And I do have full permission from Joe. He has been begging me for weeks now to somehow promote myself.
Yeah, we need to. We need to get you doing.
I really do. So yes, there will be a Ravencom's Twitter page being announced very shortly. You can engage the broadcasting services and keep up to date with where the Ravencom's team are broadcasting. At the moment, we're currently live on 3 separate channels. That would be Quantum Racing, Formula Racing League, and here, of course, on RTO. So in advance, thank you for any support you all decide to throw my way for future broadcasts. But rest assured, I'll be here for the next 2 rounds of this.
Excellent.
Oh yes,
we'd love that.
With an oxygen tank, quite possibly.
Well, I'll try and join you in the booth after the first races incidents have been sorted out, and then that hopefully will help you. In other words, what I'm saying is I'll come in for when it calms down after the first 2 laps, so it makes it easier for me. But happy to help you out there. One thing I would like to mention before we go, the RTO are now affiliated with SimPlay, so if you're looking for anything to do with sim racing or even flight sim equipment, or even selling your own product, so if you've got a rig or if you've got a wheel that you're selling because you've upgraded, etc., then you can sell it all on SimPlace. I've just sold my DD2 from Fanatec on SimPlace. I literally put it up within half an hour, someone sent me the money and it's gone. Simple as that. So it's a really, really good place to do it. Go and read all the terms and conditions if you are going to do that, but definitely go and check it out. And if you are looking for new products, I cannot recommend them highly enough. They are based in the Netherlands, but we've noticed that, in fact, I've just bought some VESA mount adjusters so I can get my triples in the right place. And I noticed that they're actually cheaper from the Netherlands than they are from the UK. go figure. And that's after the import taxes have been put on as well. So that's the reason why we've gone with Simplace. So definitely go and check them out if you're looking to upgrade anything. But obviously, if you're going to look for Acer Tech or Track Racer, then speak to me.
Get in the group. Get in the RTO and Lynx's Discord groups, and take advantage of all the codes that he's got to offer. Does someone say Payday 3 from CD Keys? On its basis.
Yes. Yeah. There is also in our Discord is a CD Keys deals, and I put in the new deals there. But if you want any game from CD Keys, there is just a normal generic link right at the top of the page, and you click that, and that takes you through, and then you get your discounts through on CD Keys. Just to give you an idea, the gold edition on CD Keys at the moment for Payday 3, which has been released today. On Steam, it is $79.99. Through CD Keys, which you put the code in from CD Keys to Steam, you save 28%. It's $56.99. All right, so there you go. Straight away, you can see a huge saving of over £22. All right, so it's worth doing. It's back in your pocket. It's better in your pocket than someone else's, and you still put it in on Steam, and it's all legit. So there you go.
And an extra bit of consumer advice that I know everyone loves. If you are on PlayStation, I realise that CD Keys may seem limited, but fear not. Just because Xbox and PC can buy full games and PlayStation predominantly can't buy games and add-ons, what you can do is buy PlayStation Network top-up vouchers at a massive discount, and then use them to buy the games through the PlayStation Store. My niece and nephew were eternally grateful for the voucher they got every year that I got 25% off for their Christmas, thanks to the CD Keys Christmas sales.
Just let that out of the bag, didn't you?
I did indeed. Oh, they were well aware of that, to be fair. They kind of knew what their budget was for their Christmas presents back in those days. So, so yeah, if you're looking to get yourself some ACC DLC for your PlayStation 5 to get involved in there, definitely get yourself the PlayStation Network vouchers. I can attest to how good the website is, and it's one of the reasons why Joe's affiliated as well. So there we go. We've been through the highlights twice already. I'll leave them running again. Why not, as Joe and I bring you all the consumer and sim racing advice, as well as the hottest action on YouTube. Make sure you hit that free subscribe. Hit the bell so you get the notifications when the league is next live. Get into the Discord and get involved in the racing, if not just to get the free time that you get from Joe himself. I cannot recommend his teaching skills enough, and again, a lot of progress each day adds up to big results. Thank you, Luke Addison, for sponsoring the series. We will leave the highlights running for you to enjoy. As I say, the broadcast again in 2K and 7.1 surround, so make sure you get your output set to absolute max and enjoy. But that's all from the studio this evening. So it is a good night from Mr. Boyle himself.
Thank you very much, and good night.
And it is a good night from me. Stay safe, take it easy, and have a great rest of your night. Good night.